Let's see. Let's join my own live stream so I could look at the comments. Okay, that wasn't a good one. Here, there we go. Hey, first person in. So, anyways, I thought I'd wait for at least one person to show up before I started talking about the gear I use to make videos. So, yeah, so I'm going to talk about the cameras, the microphones that I use to make videos, just so that we have something to talk about. And then maybe I'll look at the comments for the previous videos I posted and I'll just reply to those. So, anyways, so let's see if I could actually look at the chats that come in through here. Okay. Okay. So, Rakin, welcome. All right. So I guess I'll just get started, and people, if they're curious about what I use to make videos, they could just rewatch this video from the beginning. So let's see. I hope you're doing good. So I'll just get right along with it. And if you have any questions or comments along the way, definitely feel free to ask. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. Oh. There we go. So yeah, I do have this on a gimbal, so I'm not as shaky. So my main camera, okay, my main camera is this. It's totally overkill, but I'm using a 5D Mark IV. Again, totally overkill. And the reason I only have this camera is I use it for photography, but it's the best camera I have for the shot I want to do. So as you could see, what I have attached in front of it, and I think it's a really good tip for anybody that's looking to YouTube in the future. It's a mini teleprompter, and you could see I have my Galaxy Note 3 attached to it. And you could do two things with it. You can just have notes for yourself so that if you want to talk about something, or if you written a script, you could actually read off of it. But what I use it for is I use it to just monitor myself when I'm recording the video, so that what is it? So that I just look into the camera. I think that's a really hard thing to do if you ever try videoing, or I guess selfie vlogging, right? It's like it's really hard to stare down into the middle of the lens, right? And a lot of the times, especially on smartphones, you see you kind of start looking at the picture, but the camera is on in the corner, so it kind of looks like you're looking away from the camera. So it troubleshoots all of that by using a mini teleprompter when I for my main camera. Anything else about it? So yeah, it's a camera that I use for photography, but it I think it's good because it has really good 1080p video, and it has really good colors for skin. So I think that's what people say about Canon. So the next piece, I think this is going to be the most important tip for you guys if you want to do like videos or gear videos. But you can see it's hard to see here. But it's a really cheap, small, light camera that I rigged up for this table, and this is a really good tip for you guys, for anybody looking to do YouTube, to show things on the desk. And I see them doing it in a much difficult way. But what I'm using is I bought like a light boom, like this is a mic boom, and I bought like an adapter to take the standard mic boom thread here, uh, and then I just put like a mini ball head for a camera, and I'm using a Panasonic GF7 with a kit lens. It's a 12 to 32 millimeter kit lens, and it actually lets you. Wait, hold on. Yeah, it actually lets you zoom in and out. I don't know if you could see it, but it lets you zoom into things on a desk. And with this mic stand, mic boom, I removed what is it? The the feet of this boom pole, and I just clipped it to the side of my desk. So you could see that this entire desk is wireless, and it moves around. So I'll do that once again. So yeah, this entire desk that I have my microphone and my main camera for showing things on my desk is entirely mobile. I could just push it out of this room if I wanted to. So let's see what else. Let's move on to audio gear. All right. You'll see in the videos I actually wear these in the videos, and it's not like I'm trying to do, some kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know what that term is called, but it's not like I'm trying to like brand myself as somebody wearing large earphones in every video. It's audio recording technique used by pretty much all what is it? Professionals who record their voices, right? It helps them monitor how they're saying something, how their voice sounds, so that they could color their voice, so that they get to play with the intended audience, interact with them just in just a little bit better way. And also, I find that it helps me calm myself down just a little bit when I'm hearing what I'm saying. So yeah, and you know what, I've been trying to find like a smaller solution for this. It's kind of big. It's kind of gets in the way of where I'd rather not be wearing them. But since it's so effective in doing what I wanted to do, I just wear those. So what else? So another big important tip for you guys. Let's go back to the microphone. So the microphone that I'm using is what is it? Shure Shure SM7B. Right. If you look at a lot of the podcasts and a lot of YouTubers these days, they use this microphone because on top of it sounding really good, if you're willing to stand pretty close to it, it's actually very functional because somebody could be hammering things in another room, and a traditional condenser microphone will absolutely pick that up, and you could absolutely hear it. But this won't pick it up. It pretty much only picks up sound around it. So it has to be very loud next to it for this thing to even pick it up. But there's a problem with this microphone, and the problem is you need a lot of additional gear for it to work well. So you're gonna see that it's like very quiet and maybe even noisy when you first get it. And people that use this microphone usually use it with this thing. I'm using a Focusrite. This is a 2i4. I think people usually use a 2i2, but pretty much the same things. Now, here's a really great tip for anybody, because this information does not exist on the web, but you can indeed power this with a power brick and still have it work. This is a second generation, which everybody says you cannot power with just a power pack. But if you get one of these RAV power packs, and it has like a SD card slot, there's a little bit of a CPU, and it's actually using Android, I believe, underneath it. So it's running like a mini computer. So this thing was made, this Focusrite, this is an equalizer, by the way, EQ and a preamp, mostly a preamp. People use it with this SM7B microphone, and they say, oh, you have to have it connected to a computer or even powered with a tablet or smartphone, and it's kind of been a burden, right? But you could actually power it, with one of these things, and then with the audio that comes off of it, I just use a Zoom H4n. Okay, this thing's pretty old, but it's literally melting. But I think I gotta get this replaced eventually. And oh, this thing is called a Fed head. A lot of people use the cloud lifter, but it just adds. It takes the power that this thing sends to the microphone. It takes some of that power and increases the gain or volume on the for the microphone. All right. Oh, and oh, I use this thing here to start the camera, at least the Canon cameras. And the reason I need that is the Canon cameras, they actually stop recording after about 30 minutes. So basically, I have to make sure they're rolling again, and I don't want to have to reach out to my cameras. So that's what I do. I just trigger the recording again with that thing. All right, what else? Oh, I have two additional cameras, and the reason that I have these is because I just had the cameras available, but they are functional because this lets me do some, or these cameras give me some additional angles, so that, for example, when I wasn't recording, or when I'm recording a video and I didn't capture something in camera because I wasn't paying attention to the framing, I have two other cameras that I could refer to. So I don't really have to do a retake. I'll just use the angles from the other cameras to show what I wanted to do. So this is a Canon 80D. And once again, this lens is totally overkill. It's like totally not necessary for this type of shot, but it's the best lens that I have that I could attach on here. You could definitely use the kit lens for the pretty much almost the same shot. But once again, I use it for photography and I just have it. So I just thought I'd just put it on there. Oh, and you could see that it's on a slider. Like it's called, oh, let me lower this. I'm using the first generation Edelkrone slider. And I kind of regret buying this thing because I actually do not use it, don't use it at all, and it works very well except that it's very noisy. So remember I told you that my microphones are actually very quiet, and it shouldn't be able to pick up somebody hammering in the other room, but this thing is in my room. And it's actually so loud that even that microphone can pick this up. So unfortunately, I don't use it, but maybe I could do a quick demo. Right, I'll do a quick demo of what this thing does, if you guys are interested. So maybe you could see, oh, what's that? There you go. So tripod, gotta set this to about 155. And then I got a wizard mode. And then so I'm just gonna push this thing and record its movements. I should get this thing out of the way. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so if you look at the video screen right here, let me try to point this up, right? If you look at the video screen, you could see that it's focusing something on my desk and it's doing like a parallax effect and it's moving back and forth. So my original intention was just record a video with this just running in the background so I could have some kind of like a B-roll / additional shot that I could just cut into my videos when I needed it. But it's just so loud. It's like, I totally regret buying it. And there are other sliders now, even from this company, they have their third generation of product, the same product, which costs maybe double, but and I think it is mostly silent, which would be very useful. But since I didn't get my money's worth on the first one that I bought, I just can't upgrade it because it just hasn't proved its value. So, and then let's move on to the last camera here. So you could see that this camera is actually just sitting on top of the corner shelf here. And the reason for that is, so yeah, this shot, what this shot is supposed to be is, imagine you're talking to like somebody like the tech guy at your office, right? And you're talking to him, and he's usually, you're actually usually staring at his shoulder because he's staring at his computer. So I'm kind of trying to recreate that shot for context, but also have it as an alternate camera angle that I could just cut into my videos. All right, so I believe that's it. I'll, let's see, did I miss anything? So yeah, what I'll do is I'll just record. I'll just record the video, and I'll just take all the SD cards, and I'll just put it into this thing, right? Just it's a bay for SD cards, and then I'll just edit straight from the cards. So I just got some really fast SD cards so that I don't have to spend any time copying all the files into my computer from multiple cameras. If you have fast SD cards, you could just edit directly in Premiere and have it use those SD cards because it'll be fast enough. Now, having done that for a little while, I don't know if I recommend it because Premiere seems to crash when it's reading from that bay of SD cards. All right, let's see. Oh, and after that, after all the video shooting is done, I'll just take out all the batteries, and then I'll just charge them down here. So I have all my chargers here, and yeah, just want to charge them all at once, so that you don't have to worry about what's charged and whatnot. Just get it done in one shot, right? Just get a multi-tap with a lot of ports and a lot of chargers, and I'm trying to simplify. I'm trying to simplify my workflow so that I don't spend too much unnecessary time doing stuff like having to worry about charging or having to copy files over to the computer for editing. Also, another thing that I'm doing is if you have multiple camera, if you're working with multiple camera stuff, you should learn how to use the multi-camera feature on Premiere Pro. Just nest all the video streams together, and there's this multi-camera feature where you could have it play the video, and you could hit 1, 2, 3, 4 on the keyboard, and it'll just like edit on as the video is playing. So yeah, I think not too many people do like multi-camera videos on YouTube, but I think it's very accessible for people who are interested in doing some YouTube videos and want to do something different. And let's see what else I was about to say. Yeah, so I think YouTubing, right? It's like YouTubing is an interesting subject. I read a funny comment, or I think this guy commented that it's like everyone's kind of like shy about talking about doing YouTube, but in actuality, it seems to me that so many people are interested in doing YouTube these days. And if I bring up the subject, maybe they're kind of hesitant to bring up the subject with me, but when I bring it up, it turns out that they're all interested in doing some YouTube videos. I think even my mom, right? If she could, I think she would even do some. She would be interested, right? I think maybe not, but or maybe. So yeah, I just want to provide some videos and tips in the future for anybody that's interested in doing some YouTube videos. You could see that this channel is very niche, but somehow I managed to gather a lot of subscribers, and I'm sure that kind of stuck out. And you might have wondered what I'm doing differently for that to happen. So I feel like I could offer a lot of YouTube advice, technical wise, maybe give recommendations, or maybe just explain how YouTube works a little bit better, in depth, and how I think you could gather more subscribers than rather than just throwing videos up there. There's a lot of like really what is it? There's a lot of techniques that people use to grow their channels that you might not know about at first value. But like for example, I think one of the main number one number one way to grow a YouTube channel, number one most important thing is if you could somehow provide content regularly, even daily at the same time. Actually, that would be the number one thing that I could recommend to you guys. If you can upload at the same time every day. If you can't do every day at the same schedule, right? That's number one. Another thing is quality audio rather than video. Rather than video is the audio, I believe, is more important than video. For example, I'm filming this on my Galaxy Note 5, and if I were to be using my larger camera somehow to live stream, I don't think that would make much of a difference. But if you can use a quality microphone rather than something that would be barely audible, or maybe that person sounds more nervous than they are because they're just using a cheap microphone. I think stuff like that. That definitely the microphone should be emphasized. So I'm seeing some comments. I'm seeing some comments here. I should have zoomed this. 1 second. Oop. There we go. All right, so the comment from the Duke is my opinion is that most people of the, I guess for the tech, that he follows have the same thing going on, not different in style. That's true. So as like a creator, I guess I could, if you allow me to call myself that, I am always trying to do something different. So again, I actually have this on a gimbal. I was walking around with it earlier. And, I'm playing with the idea of taking you, like starting a live stream from outside, because there's nothing really preventing me from taking this outside because, I am mic'd up wirelessly right now and my smartphone is on the gimbal. I could take you outside and then, I could do like a feature demonstration video of my Galaxy Note 10, or maybe I'll just do a video on how to shoot interesting photos with the wide angle camera and stuff like that. And I could do videos like that because yeah, we're all seeing the same type of videos these days, except maybe from I guess there's some channels that stand out now that you say that, like Mr. Mobile and MKBHD. They're usually not at their desks, so I think their videos are cool, but they are very edited, and it would be impossible for them to do that video live stream. So I kind of want to do like a live stream of something outside of this office or studio or whatever you want to call it. And I could interact, and then maybe you guys could tell me that you guys want to see something as it's happening. So let's see. So he's the Duke Says Greg TV or sorry, Greggles TV has 2 vids daily. Actually, I haven't heard of that channel, so I'll check that out. Let's see. However, for those guys, I get burned out because I want to support, not so. All right, so all right, so if you guys have any other comments or questions, feel free to leave them. I'm sorry, I have to look away, but I'm reading the comments that came in. I guess I could click on the phone here, but it's a little bit more comfortable to read them on my monitor. All right, so let's see, let's go to my last video. And you know, I did see some, what do you call it? One second. Some comments from my last video. Do see some comments from the last video, and yeah, I kind of started that video off kind of weird. I think the first 2 minutes were kind of like, okay, all right, Duke, see you. Hope to see you in the next videos or next couple of videos. All right. So yeah, so I uploaded Galaxy Note 10 tips and tricks episode 1. But yeah, I did kind of start that video kind of long, and I guess what I was doing was I was kind of sharing my mission statement of you know, the series of videos. And maybe if I had titled it mission statement, and then I'll give you the normal tips and tricks videos, then it'll be fine. But it was like it wasn't really one of those like tips where I, you know, film something different going on the smartphone. It was just, you know, a gesture suggestion. So maybe people didn't. Some people were critical of it, and I agree. It's that first 2 minutes of the video, it was pretty rough. But if you could get through it, maybe it was maybe I wanted to say those things to introduce the channel. All right. So let's see. I think somebody says they were surprised to see me. Yes, you know, I look at the videos that I uploaded and in the past, and I kind of feel bad for just, you know, taking the time off. But I feel like I had to do it for my daughter, and I feel like it was very good time used because, you know, my daughter's super healthy and happy, a little bit too spoiled, but we'll figure that out. So what was I talking about? Oh, okay. So if you're just joining this live stream earlier or just now, if you're joining the live stream just now, I showed you cameras that I use in this channel, camera and the mic equipment that I use in this channel to make these videos. And you'll see in the videos that I use different camera angles, and people may have been curious how I was able to do that. And I also talk about a little bit on how you could make that less cumbersome when editing videos. Just use the multi-camera feature on the use the multi-camera feature in Premiere Pro, and literally as it's playing, you could hit keyboards like 1, 2, 3, 4. You could edit, right? That couldn't be any easier. So I just want to read some comments from my last video, Robin. Thank you for always commenting. I definitely appreciate it. She says, thank you. Glad to see me back. All right. As for folding, they need the mighty S Pen. I can't be without it. I absolutely agree. It's part of the reason I didn't get a Galaxy Fold. I think if the Galaxy Fold actually had an S Pen, I might own it right now. And I just couldn't, you know, if I'm gonna spend $2,000 on with for a smartphone that I'm gonna want to carry in my pocket all the time, I think yeah, since I use the S Pen every day, even though only for a few minutes a day, I would still want it. All right. Uh, Next comment from Otaku, oh, Otaku J. Okay. You had amazing content before. I'm looking forward to seeing you, uh, what you have to say, and learning anything I might not actually know about the Note 10. So, okay, so, oh, I don't want to point this camera so far away from the monitor that it looks weird. So, yes, you know, I after I uploaded the last video, I thought, wow, this is the last video is so different from what I'm normally uploading. So I think I want to get back a little bit more towards that direction. All right, from Kiss Kiss, don't worry about it, Michael. I'm sure most of us have been following your tips and tricks videos since the Note 2. All right, thank you for always leaving encouraging comments. And while other videographers, YouTubers are proficient while being live, you are one of, if not the one who started the whole tips and tricks when it came to the Galaxy Note series. I, I think so. What's interesting is I feel like I did change a little bit on how YouTube tech channels work, just a little bit, or you know, yeah, I think I could give myself that credit, or at least I didn't see anybody else doing it. And after I started doing things a certain way, I noticed a lot of people going towards that direction, and that's a very high compliment. I think people saw that I was doing something different, right? Like for example, focusing on one series of phones, which at the time was very niche, and seeing the success it had. I think this may have led to some channels being created where they weren't too worried about gaining as much subscribers just because their content was so niche. If you really like the content, if you really like the phone yourself, you could just provide the videos and talk about your interests, and plenty of subscribers will show up, I think. All right, so Alan Wells, your live stream was great. Always love watching your videos. I always learn something from them. Keep it up. Happy holidays. And yes, thank you. And I always try to emphasize that. I always try to think of like a solid takeaway for each video. So I think I, I got really good at that, and I look back at that time, and I definitely want to get in the zone again for creating that kind of content. All right, David. Okay, wow, 7 years of videos. It reminds me of how excited I was about the Note 2. I guess it's time for the industry to evolve. I can't wait for 2020 and 2021 phones. Yes, I think so. The folding phones are definitely very interesting, and the Motorola Razr was definitely surprising. The Galaxy Fold is cool. I got to see one live in person, but it was behind a glass case. But I kind of assumed what that phone would be, and I think the surface of that phone is fairly soft, and that kind of worries me a little bit. But hearing how, and then that kind of made me worry about the future. Actually, can we get a phone that has like a solid surface, like the Galaxy Note, or any smartphone with a glass display? Can we get that type of phone in a folding phone? So I think the Galaxy or the Motorola Razr is definitely heading towards that, and I'm just excited to see it. Now, one question that I had, if anybody knows, is is Samsung part of that display technology at all? I know they have been working on folding their displays, a little bit at a time to where it doesn't like break. and they worked on it for like probably like 5 plus years. Just gaining like micromillimeters at a time with each evolution of the folding display. So I looked at the Motorola Razr and I wondered if they're using the Samsung displays. If anybody knows the answer to that question, is the hinges that they're using, is that all Motorola? Uh, I don't know if anybody's has addressed that or tried to get the answer for that question, but I'm curious. All right, so Greg or Jurgo. Sorry if oh man, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but uh, so so the live stream was great, but true, your reviews and tips and tricks have always been top of the line. Oh, okay, thank you. I'll work on that. So after this live stream, I'm gonna record a video to upload tomorrow, or maybe so I think I need to record maybe 1 or 2 videos because it's gonna be hard to make a video when my daughter is here on the weekend. I mean, she's here all day during the weekend. She's in daycare right now. So, yes, I'm gonna get back to it. So, yeah, if you haven't seen my previous or the first live stream, my goal is to provide some content for the next 30 days. And it's not 30 days only, but if I can keep up with the momentum of posting for 30 days, I'm hoping that'll propel me, or that'll make it easier for me to get into a routine to provide regular videos. All right, this is Toshiba Voodoo. Awesome. I got a shout out and love it. I'm a huge Note fan and can't wait for your earbud review. I use a Note for business, and my favorite is the ability to put a note on the desktop and write S Note app with a written to-do list. But I keep a bunch of information right on top of the desktop on the Note 8. All right, so I definitely am a firm believer of writing notes to yourself and having it visible. You could write notes, and then you could close the book, but you might not be reminded to do what you need to do. So as you could see right here, even on my desk, I have post-it notes, and I know that's a very analog way of doing things, but actually it's the most effective for me on me getting things done, especially when I become busy. All right, the next one, Samuel. Great to see you back in action. We'll be looking forward to your videos again. Though I love my Note 10 Plus, I really missed a fingerprint sensor on my previous Note 9 though. And you know what? I fully agree with that. So just talking about the fingerprint, it's been a pretty this a fairly big disappointment for me because I was using the fingerprint sensor all the time on the Note 9, and I was excited to see the fingerprint sensor on the Note 10, but I do a lot of dishes these days because my daughter, uh, I do a lot of dishes and it's extremely dry here. So I have really cracked fingerprint thumbs, and I feel like the Note 9 sensor would have been able to read that, but the Note 10 sensor, it takes a little bit longer and it's not as accurate. So actually, I just stopped using it. So yeah, I finally got around to using the Note 9 fingerprint sensor, and I loved it. And I also use their face unlock all the time, right? When the face unlock just didn't unlock it right away, I would use fingerprint, but I use neither of those, and I use pattern unlock. And hopefully, the next versions of the next version Note 11, they'll make the fingerprint sensor on the screen a bit better. I did hear that the what is it? The screen protector, the plastic film screen protector, does get in the way, and if we remove it, maybe it'll work a lot better and a lot quicker. But somehow, yeah, they need to figure out how to get that working through there, because if that's getting in the way, then I don't expect anybody else to be taking the screen protector off just to use the fingerprint sensor. But speaking of, I'm still using the screen protector that came with my Galaxy Note 10. And I have just a little bit of space here where it's come off a little bit. Other than that, it's held on amazingly well. Unfortunately, I've scratched my screen protector, so I think I do eventually want to get that replaced. I don't know where I'm gonna get a screen protector that's of this quality, but what's great is I have a Samsung service center nearby, and I'm pretty sure I could just pay them like, I don't know, 10, $20 to replace it for me. Maybe for free, I don't know. Next comment. Okay. Maikai. I've always loved your videos. Keep up the live streams and you do a great job. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Dia Konescu. Okay. Keep up the good work. Also in Europe, so I won't be on the live streams, but we'll watch after. I'm a subscriber to your channel for years. All right, thank you. Oh, I had a question for anybody watching. So I think my channel, one of the things that people liked about my channel is that I would, transcribe every single one of my videos. So I think my 300 videos were actually transcribed, and my girlfriend, who's now my wife, actually did a lot of those. And I feel like I don't need to do them as much because the Google word recognition has become so good. Uh, I just rarely ever see it making mistakes unless I'm talking about like technical specifications. So so if you still need it transcribed, maybe I'm willing to just see it once through, and I'll just correct a few words on it. But let me know if you missed the closed caption stuff. All right. So next comment. Larry, glad you're back. Are you looking forward to the Note 11? So I'm hearing about the 108 megapixel camera and the 5x zoom lens that's going to be on the camera. So I think, was it Huawei or Oppo? I think Huawei made a phone, and I think Leica may be doing the lenses. I might be totally wrong, but they made a phone that that actually has a physical zoom lens. And in good lighting, it's actually producing really high quality images. And sure, I think telephoto lenses are very useful. It's in some ways. I think so. I think we'll have to see. Like for example, telephoto lenses. Even though we have these small smartphone sensors, maybe they'll give us that shallow depth of field. That blurry background when we do portrait photos. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but I want to try stuff like that out. Like, can we take like a portrait with not the digital blurring without the digital blurring of the background? Could we take that kind of portrait with a zoom lens like that? Other than that, being able to zoom 5 times, what would it be used for? It could be used as a tool. For example, if you want to see what's there, doesn't necessarily make for good photography. But landscape photographers, they like to zoom in on certain parts of the landscape to frame that for the shot. So it could be used for landscape photography. It could be used for maybe your filming your kids at an event when you're sitting in the audience. and you want to, you could use that for video as well. So very exciting times uh, for smartphone cameras. And the 108 megapixel sensor, you know, that's going to be an interesting one. I have, my highest megapixel camera right now is 30 megapixels, and I rarely ever use all of it. I probably only use about 8 megapixels of that thing, when it's finally printed and stuff like that. So, oh, by the way, this is my printer. It's my printer, like a photo printer. And I think I want to do a video in the future about taking a photo that you shoot with your phone and then framing it. I think that would make for an interesting episode. I think the smartphone cameras are definitely capable of that quality photo. So let's see. Let's get back to the comments. Okay. Still very happy. Oh, this is from Patrice993. Still very happy with my Note 9 and its headphone jack. So it's a very sensitive topic for me because I absolutely miss the headphone jack. And, you know, I use my Bluetooth earphones all the time, but I'm still inconvenienced by not having a headphone jack like just today. Or you can see I'm using a wireless microphone here. Just today, I was all ready to live stream with my Galaxy Note 10, right? I put it on the gimbal, and then when I was ready to plug in my wireless microphone receiver to it, I just realized I don't have the jack there. So that's why I'm doing this live stream on my Note 5. So I guess I would be using my Note 8. I returned my Note 9, or I sold it. So yeah, it's a very, very sensitive subject for me also. And maybe it's just my imagination, but I feel the USB-C earphones, right? I feel that they are controlling, you get like these firmware updates all the time, and I feel like they are tweaking how it is EQ'd so that it sounds similar to what we're used to on the traditional stereo mini jack headphones, and for the most part, it sounds very similar, but it feels like over EQ'd. Like it feels like the mids are like too amplified, so it's not the same thing. So I don't know if I'm just imagining it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is the sound quality on the USB-C is like almost there, but barely not as good as what we're getting with the stereo mini jack. I think so. I might be imagining it, but I'm just wondering why they keep tweaking the firmware on that thing. And I think they're trying to play with the levels so that it sounds the same, even though it ultimately does not. And you could hear some of the digital stuff get in the way. All right. So yeah, one point I wanted to say was I think I wanted to do a whole video on why Samsung should bring back the headphone jack, but the reason is they probably have usage statistics on how many people actually use wireless headphones every day, and they probably saw that, hey, 95% of the people don't even use this jack every day, and the rest of the 5 people that use it only a certain percentage of them are using it in a significant way, and everybody is using Bluetooth, and they want everybody to move to Bluetooth. And I feel they made that decision after making fun of Apple for not having a headphone jack. They made the decision to remove it because of usage statistics. I think that's just my assumption. But what they didn't factor in is, even though we use it very, very rarely, they didn't factor in how important it is at the time we were using it. Even though I use it for like 30 minutes a month, right? For those 30 minutes, it's incredibly useful. Like, for example, I would have used it today. and I think they are inconveniencing a lot more people than they realize by not having a headphone jack. So I hope it comes back in the future. I kind of doubt it will, but I hope it does come back in the future because it would be a selling point, like a additional selling point, I think. And a lot of people, a lot of people have fancy earphones that they like using, right, with their smartphones, and they don't want to put another piece of cable when it's unnecessary. And also, I'm not sure how Samsungs do it, but I think the audio DAC, right? Is the audio DAC in the USB-C cable? Maybe you guys have the answer to that, right? Is the audio DAC in the USB-C cable, and does the phone just not have one that could work with the USB, the audio that's being fed in through the USB-C? So yeah, just something to think about. All right, this is Wise Night. Wise Night. Hi, Michael. Good to have you back. There are some things that I don't like about my 10 plus 5G compared to my former Note. Okay. Oh, a lot of text. All right. Maybe I have some tips or workarounds. Uh, Before I dig into this comment, I want to talk about my 5G experience, and maybe I'll make a video on this as well. But uh, so, so if you guys don't know, I'm in Korea, where we are one of the first ones to put up these 5G antennas for the entire country. So I live in major city area where they've actually done that, and to be honest, it's been a total failure, at least from my eyes, because the main problem with 5G, at least the 5G uh, for that they tried to implement to work with the Galaxy Note 5, Galaxy Note 10, which is one of the first 5G devices. It's very short range. So I see new 5G, or yeah, I see like a 5G with that's not as fast, but that travels long distances. I pretty much predicted that after they put up the antennas for 5G to work in my area. Like literally, I'll go next to the window, I'll get 5G, and 10 steps away, I'll lose 5G. And it's because it only has 5% of the range and it can't really penetrate the walls that much. And to get around that, they just need to put up more antennas. But think about it, if an antenna has 5% of the range as standard LTE, that means they need they need 20, right? 20 in one dimension, another 20 in the other dimension, right? In 2D space, right? They need 20 times 20, that's 400 antennas. And that's not considering the buildings that go up much higher. So for example, in a city like New York, they would want additional maybe 3 or 4 antennas on top of that. We're already at 400. So are we talking to about 1,000 antennas that traditionally one LTE antenna could have covered? So that's all very theoretical, and there's a lot of open space in between that. But you see what I'm talking about. It's going to be impossible. 5G, at least that version of 5G, is impossible to cover an area like New York without giving service to people in the higher buildings. As many antennas that they want to install, they just can't install that many. They're not going to install hundreds or 1,000 antennas to replace one antenna, right? So and yeah, I'm on the 11th floor right now, or 10th floor. And yeah, I just don't have service away from the windows. And what this reminds me of is what is it? The AT&T, we had like GPRS and then EVDO. we had like those kind of 3G technology before, and you were kind of lucky if you got like the 3G service, and maybe in the back of your house you would get 2G. And when LTE came along, it just like solved all that. You just had LTE all the time wherever you went, inside buildings, and that doesn't happen with 5G at all. We're back to the 3G, those like crappy 3G technologies, where you know if you want good Wi-Fi signal, you got to move to a part of the building where you get the high speeds. I can't believe we've gone in this direction, but hopefully, or it looks like they're rethinking this thing after they're seeing maybe what's happening here, right? Most people don't have coverage, and a lot of people are complaining. People that get good coverage because they live right close to the antennas, or they live they're always at ground level. Maybe if it works at work, and if it works at home, and of course the highways are covered, then maybe for them it works perfect. But for me, it doesn't work at all. So, and we're fully implemented. My area is fully implemented. It's not going to get any better, and I just don't have it. So I'm like on 5G rarely. Actually, I've turned off 5G as recommended by my carrier. Right, I might have a little bit of latency when switching to 4G when I do get spotty 5G service. So why not just turn off 5G and just use LTE because it's still fast enough. So that's what I'm doing. All right. So going back to this comment saying he doesn't like his 10 plus 5G to his former notes, and he's asking if I have any tips or workarounds. Every now and then, the device wants to be unlocked via PIN instead of the fingerprint without always on display there. There's no indication that the device wants a PIN now. You have to keep pressing on the sensor, no avail. Even with always on display, fingerprint symbol. So I think he's saying he's being asked for a PIN, which is always kind of a hassle to input in to unlock your phone. I think there are some settings in there that want you to use the like a higher level of security whenever you reboot your devices. And yeah, I you know to get around that, or so, and going back to my fingerprint sensor that I don't like on the Galaxy Note 10, I'm skipping all of that, and I'm just using the pattern unlock to unlock my phone. I think it's a fairly good, uh, secure uh, way to unlock your phone. It's unless you leave like streaks on your screen, how you unlock it, or maybe somebody could be watching you unlock it, and maybe it's insecure that way. And you should definitely watch for that if you feel like somebody's gonna unlock your phone in the same room. But other than that, like in a general sense, if nobody has any information on your, if they were to find your phone, pattern unlock, I think is definitely sufficient. I've been using pattern unlock almost from for a couple of months now, and I don't really leave any indicators on my screen or screen protectors saying how I unlock my phone. So yeah, the fingerprint sensor is just not fast enough for me. And once again, I have super dry hands right now because of the dry winter, and it just almost does not work. I have to like lick my thumbs, and I have to make sure I don't have any cracks in the fingers because of the dryness. So I just don't use it. All right, it's on the next comment. It's impossible to unlock the device via fingerprint. Yeah, when a lock screen app is running. Okay, I think I already covered this. Especially annoying when I want to copy and paste something into the lock screen app. Copy and paste something from the lock screen app, since The keyboard is not okay. By the way, I'm missing the handy sensor gestures that were available with the fingerprint sensor on the backside. Yes. So I did not completely understand this comment, but yeah, I'm not sure how he's interacting with the device before it's unlocked, especially knowing when the about copying and pasting. I think it's just general security things. There's some security features on the Galaxy Note that that might be of nuisance, but they do make sense. Like for example, not giving you access to copy and paste features when the device is locked. Because what if you copied some sensitive text and somebody that found your phone, right, pasted, just pasted into an app that's accessible without unlocking the phone. So to me, that makes sense. And in a technical security way of thinking, it's absolutely necessary that they have to do that. I'm the next question. I'm really missing the notification LED. And yes, I agree with that. I think there are some workarounds around it. I saw some apps that, like for example, so see the circle thing light up when I had see that animation there once again. So that there's an animation that happens when the front-facing camera is pointed, and I believe they're trying to mimic that kind of notification, like the third-party apps. There are third-party apps that try to overlay that kind of like signal when you have a notification. I don't know if it takes up too much battery or whatnot, but you might want to look up. Maybe I'll look that up and try to do a video on it, because yeah, it would be nice to have a notification light. It is pretty amazing that we used to have a whole row, like literally 8 different sensors and LEDs here, and now we have one camera sensor, and it's been fine for most people. I mean, there are some features we lost, obviously. I really started using the Galaxy Note 9's Face Unlock all the time because it started working so well, and then all of a sudden now it's gone. So yeah, you know, it's if it means we have a phone with a perfect screen, I guess it's worth it. And for the most part, it's been worth it. I've gone back to my pattern unlock, as mentioned. It's a pretty good security feature. All right. As far as I know, the ear speaker is directed upwards instead of forwards, so that you have to turn the volume up when the phone is louder in louder environments, and people around you want. Okay. So yeah, I think he's talking about the direction of the speakers. Oh, it's interesting. So yeah, this is a speaker hole here, right on the top of the phone. It's like a little hole next to the SIM card slot, and the speaker here. And I think there's an additional piece here as well for when you put up the phone to your head when you're making for your make when you're making phone calls. So yeah, he's mentioning that yeah, it doesn't work, or it doesn't work as well as he intended, or he likes than the Note 9. So the Note 9 has a forward firing speaker, at least on this portion of it, but now they've moved it on top here. So yeah, I guess that could be a normal gripe. He has to turn on the speaker louder. Uh, yeah, you know, my response to that is you could buy like a $20 Bluetooth speaker, and you could get way better audio than it would come off the Note 10. Even though I'm pretty impressed with the Note 10 speakers. I think I did a video recommending to everyone that they should get Bluetooth speakers because they would blow away anything that would come out of a smartphone. But Samsung has been, after I made that video, I think their next two phones actually had a pretty significant improvement on speaker quality. I think maybe they started putting out stereo stereo music from then on, and maybe that video is less relevant, but it still applies. If you could buy like a $20, maybe $100 Bluetooth speaker, if you really want to get some good audio for your room, then yeah, I think it would be worth it. All right, that was a long one. Okay, next comment by One Fever. Welcome back. Please disregard the negative comment. I think some people are commenting that my video was too wordy. Also, and I agree with that comment. It's feedback. I don't take it negatively. It's feedback. I should have spoke with more energy, and I think I was just too focused on being relaxed for that video. Because I did a live stream and I was definitely not relaxed. I'm relaxed now, if, as you can tell. Um, Definitely, this video has been much easier than my first live stream. But what that led to was my second video. I was too relaxed, and then I just needed a little bit of a more energetic start to my video. So I think I'll try to just go somewhere in the middle. I try to be a little bit more energetic and a little bit less nervous in the live stream and on. I'm not nervous in when I'm making the videos, but let's see. The next one, CH3V, just want Bixby gone. My comment on Bixby, I wish I could have more positive things to say about Bixby because I do know some people that actually use it. And I think surprised because even my brother-in-law, uh, he told me he actually uses Bixby to turn off like different alarms that he has set up. But and he's not really like a Samsung fan or anything like myself, but he actually uses it. So hearing that kind of feedback from people, and me being more of a Samsung fan, that 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 doesn't like Bixby that much. I guess I gotta be a little bit more open-minded about Bixby. I don't know if I've ever given Bixby that much of a chance, but all the times I try to use it, and I usually do leave it on for at least a good month. I just somehow figure out how to just keep it disabled. Or when I try to use it, I feel like they didn't make the features in a way. For example, uh, I think Bixby, one of the later updates, they let us program what the Bixby button does, and I would have thought you hit that button and it would take like a snapshot or something like a screen capture, right? So I programmed the screen capture feature, and you would hit that, and then it would say Bixby do a screen capture. Like it would like have that moment in the middle where it would say like Bixby is doing something, and then it would take the screen capture rather than I just want the screen capture to happen right there. So maybe screen capture is not the best example because it might actually happen instantaneously. But if you wanted to open a type of app, right, it would have like a notification message saying Bixby is gonna turn on this app for you since you pressed the Bixby button. So I didn't like stuff like that. So that's that's one of the reasons I don't use it. So it might be that Samsung is leaving Bixby behind because the Note 9 it was literally impossible for you to turn off Bixby, but it looks like on the Note 10, yeah, it's as if Bixby doesn't exist if you configure it like I have. And it's not like I hate Bixby, but I just want to use my phone in a certain way to where all the buttons work as they were intended. All right, I think that was it. Yeah, this comment. yeah, this comment was just feedback for me saying the introduction of the first tips and tricks videos was a little bit too wordy. I was wasting time, and so yeah, I'll take that. And I watched it. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done the video like that, right? But looking back, I was just trying to communicate my what is it, mission statement, right? If you guys are familiar with that term, I want to give you an introduction to the type of videos that I want to do. So yeah, that was that. And then 2 minutes in, I started talking about what that video was titled for. So maybe I'll change the title of that video, maybe the thumbnail, so that people don't feel like I'm just like talking about something different than the video that they expected. So, anyways, how long have we been going for? Oh my god, it's like hour and 10 minutes. I thought we were only about 40 minutes in. So, anyways, yeah, that's the. I think that's about it. Oh, let me go back to the live stream here, if to make sure no additional questions came in. Okay. So, what are your top five third-party accessories for the Note 10? As mentioned, this. Oh, I'm wearing them right now. But these QCI T1 earphones, I don't know if they're the best ones for. I don't know if they're the best earphones that you could buy, but they are certainly the cheapest, and for the price, they sound amazing. I would say they're like 95% of the. Well, I'll take that back. The range, the frequency range on the earphones are really good. Probably the best I've heard on like a budget or even the mid range Bluetooth, because I've purchased, I have the Galaxy Icon X, Icon X 2018, which actually has a pretty limited frequency range. And then I had the LG Tones, maybe one of the earlier versions. And I felt like the audio quality was never great on that either. And it would have a lot of background noise and you could hear it turn on and turn off. But these are what I've been dreaming of that Bluetooth would be after my experience with the Galaxy Gear Icon X 2018. Because yeah, I felt there were like so many unnecessary features on that. There was like a proximity sensor to detect if it fell out of your ear and it would stop playing the music, and it had a step counter. It had built-in, like each piece had like 4 gigs of memory, and I think it would actually vibrate, and it actually had a mini speaker to let you know that, so you could trigger some kind of, yeah, it would trigger some kind of sound whenever you lost or you were having some trouble finding those earbuds. And even though I missed that feature and I would actually use it, it's, I mean, those are so many extra features that I actually, they were not that important, and they missed that most important feature was the audio quality. And the audio quality is what these budget earphones have. Now, they're not perfect. Their charger, I feel like if you leave the charger connected to the USB and it's done charging up, the next time you put your earbuds in there, it's drawing from the battery, but it's not keeping that battery charged. And then initially there were some problems with like connectivity where one, I would get the earbuds paired up, and then somehow they stopped pairing together and they would only pair with the phone directly. But I repaired the earbuds, and I repaired the earbuds to each other, and since then it's been perfect. So it was only that one time it had that issue. And also in a extremely quiet room, you might hear some feedback noise sometimes. I don't know what causes it. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi signal interfering, but like during the day you'll never notice, but maybe in an absolute silent room, you might notice that one of your earbuds start making some kind of like signal noise, and I don't know what that is. So there's that, but it's so silent, or that signal noise doesn't really get in the way, and when you're listening to music, it's way too quiet for you to even hear it. So there's that. Other accessories. Let's see, other accessories. Oh, third-party accessories. Oh, I think I'm gonna need to think about that. I cannot think anything off the top of my head. You know, I, I do use my Galaxy Note 10 or just my smartphones in general with much larger accessories to get stuff like that. To get stuff done, like I have a oh for those of you watching, let me show you something. I haven't prepared. I didn't clean in there, but let me show you what I do with my smartphone every day. So, so here's my bike. So here's my bike, and it's on this thing called a Smart Trainer. It's called a Wahoo Kicker Snap, and so the Wahoo Kicker Snap is Bluetooth enabled, so it connects to my smartphone. What is it called? Yeah, it connects to my smartphone, and you know, this is a regular bike, and this when I push on the pedals, right, it turns this thing, and it sees how much power I'm exerting. Also have a Bluetooth cadence counter on the back of my pedals here. But what that lets me do is that lets me kind of play. It almost looks like a video game where everybody's on bicycles in their homes, and it turns your bike into an exercise bike slash video game where you're cycling with other people that's doing the same thing. So would that be considered an accessory? I'm not sure, but maybe I'll do a video on that. But the app is called Zwift. Now, problem with Zwift is they charge $15 a month after the trial period, and I feel like that's like the price of a gym membership. So you know, I've been using that. I don't know if I could recommend it because to most people, unless you're serious about cycling. I think at one point I was fairly serious about cycling, so that's why I have all that stuff in there. And it's not cheap, all that gear that I just briefly talked about. But if you're into cycling, you should definitely look into it because uh, the Zwift app is finally available for Android. People have been using it on uh, iPhones and iOS for a long time, but it's an interesting way to use your smartphone. So I kind of want to do a video covering that topic on how you could use your smartphones to exercise and lose weight in creative ways. All right. So what else? Yeah, gimbal. Like for example, I have other accessories. So I cannot tell you about the top accessories, but I'll tell you the accessories I'm using. And I don't know if they're even accessories. I just geared it up, right? I'm using this microphone, and I'm using oh, this Rode. This thing is called Rode Wireless Go, and it lets me plug in to my smartphone that's on a gimbal, and then I could just, I'm free to. I don't need to be on a wire to the smartphone, and it lets me provide better audio for these types of videos. So that's how I'm using it. So, oh, yeah, okay. I thought of another accessory, but not really. But if you missed the first couple of minutes of this video, since we're on the topic of interesting ways to use our smartphones, I use it as a part of a teleprompter. My older phones at least. So, anyways, I think that's all the questions and all the things I had thought of to talk about this video. So, hey guys, so thank you for joining me on this live stream, and I'm glad I was able to do this live stream in a much more relaxed way because I didn't like how my first live stream went. So, I guess I don't need to worry about doing future live streams because I feel a lot more comfortable about doing them now. So, thank you for joining me on this live stream. I think I'm gonna record a video after this after I have a quick lunch, and I hope to see you in the next one. All right, see ya.